joined now by one of Elvis's oldest and dearest friends, and he was there through the thick and the thin, the good and the bad. We welcome in George Klein. Good morning, George.
Hey, Mark and Brian, how you guys doing? I just want to say one thing. KLOS, Los Angeles.
Nice.
See, he says that good because he's the DJ.
That's right.
George, thanks for being on the program, man.
Hey, guys, thanks for having me. You guys are number one. I'm always willing to go with number one.
Now, I'm sure my partner's has millions of questions to ask you about Elvis, but I want to ask you about this. Going way back, you were one of the first DJs in the South to play the devil's music and crossing racial lines. How vile and dangerous did it become for you in those early years?
Well, I'll tell you guys, it wasn't too bad because they sort of accepted it. The kids were really into that music at that time.
But the parents?
Well, once in a while I get a letter or a phone call, but no demonstrations, no signs out front, no letters to the editor, nothing like that. They just kind of accepted it was the kids' music, you know.
Now, one of the things that I've always tried to understand, though it's really kind of hard to fathom, when Elvis first went on the Milton Berle show, which was primarily where it happened, and he was up there jumping around and shaking his hips, and the next morning, all hell broke loose. Preachers were in the pulpit preaching against Elvis Presley, and record vendors were throwing his records out. How big a chaotic episode was that?
It worked perfectly for Elvis, guys, because all it did, as you know, being in the business, it created attention to him. It brought more attention to him than he would have got if he hadn't have got that adulation or those criticisms and the burning of the records and the beat the preachers going on the radio and putting it down. That actually helped him. It worked in reverse.
Now, George, I'm a huge Elvis fan, and one of the things that I've always kind of struggled with is to watch the Elvis from the comeback special. He never sounded better, he never looked better, and then to realize in 9 short years he would transform himself into a different guy. Did you, and I'm sure others, but did you personally ever pull him aside in the middle of that and try to talk some sense to him that you can't do this anymore?
Mark, this is Mark, right?
It is.
Yeah, Mark, if you've been here in the business, it's hard to tell a superstar what to do. We had seen his weight fluctuate up and down. Before he did that 68 special, he was overweight. He lost about 20 pounds and looked great. Then he did the low hop and Hawaii thing. He was overweight, lost weight, looked great on that. To tell a superstar, hey, man, you're overweight, Elvis, you look heavy, you don't look good on TV anymore or whatever, you don't do it that way. You just very casually try to do it. And, that's it. Because if you did, Mark, he would shut you out, and then you really couldn't help him.
Yeah. Now, the book that you have written called Elvis, My Best Man is primarily exactly that. Not only does it recall and recant the life that you spent with Elvis, but he actually was your best man at your wedding, and he paid for it.
That's exactly right, Mark. All the guys in the group had gotten married. I get a call from Elvis, and he said, GK, he said, you're the only guy in the group that's not married. I said, I know that, Elvis. He said, I'll make you a deal. I said, what? He said, if you'll get married, I'll provide my suite in Vegas, $3,000 at the Hilton there. He said, I'll pay for your entire wedding, and I'll be your best man. I said, are you serious, Elvis? He said, yeah. I said, you got a deal, man. And so it came down like that.
Every Friday, I listen to George. He is on the Elvis radio channel, which broadcasts right across the street from Memphis. And one of the things that I enjoy most, George, is that everybody from Elvis's background talks to you. You interview everybody who was there during the good and the bad.
You're exactly right, Mark. Thank you. I appreciate you listening. Because, as you know, when I did the Drake radio thing and all of that, you got 20 seconds to talk. On satellite radio, man, on the Elvis channel, I can talk all I want. Of course, I have my own little clock and all that. But yes, I do interview everybody. We don't soft sell it. We don't soft sell, but we tell it like it is. But we do it in a classy way, like Priscilla said.
Now, George, it's pretty funny with my partner because we do promos after the show on Friday, every day after the show. But on Friday especially, Mark's in a little hurry to get out of here because he wants to hop in his car, put down the top, drive home, and play Elvis trivia. The Elvis trivia. Now, is George the guy, Mark, that does the Elvis trivia?
No, George comes on after that.
I see. All right.
The trivia is around noon. I do 2 to 6, and then they record that, and I do it live, and then they come back and play it back on Monday night. It's called GK Replay. Now, the trivia thing is kind of funny, Mark, because as I'm walking up, the winner of the trivia person is just about to leave, and they say, GK, this lady just won the trivia thing. I said, okay, let me see how good you are. And I said, what was Elvis's music teacher's name in high school? Ooh. Nobody knows.
Oh, that's a tough one.
It is a tough one. It was Miss Mormon. The only reason I knew, Mark, because I was in the class with Elvis. But no, those people are pretty doggone good. They will amaze you at how much knowledge they have. We have one guy who's an assistant producer on the show, and I'll test him. I'll say, okay, do Slice and Sand, which was a crappy song in Blue Hawaii.
Slice and Sand.
So he'll say, written by so-and-so, was then the album came out, the label was black. He knows all that jazz, man.
Wow. Now, you met Elvis in the 8th grade. This is way before he had even launched into a music career. What kind of a person was he prior to his worldwide fame?
Mark, he was kind of quiet, laid-backish. In that 8th grade music class, he got up and sang a couple of songs. He sang Old Shep, which he later recorded, and another one called Cold, Cold, Icy Fingers. And at that moment, I said, God, I've never seen a 12-year-old with a guitar sing like that. And so as we went through high school, we bonded, and he won the senior class talent show. But to answer your question, he did it like in a Velvet Hammer way, if you will, in that today the kids are piercing, they got the tattoos, they got purple and green and red hair. He did it by dressing and wearing his hair a little long. He had the sideburns, hair was a little long, and then he would come to school in a black sport coat with a white stripe down the side, showbiz style, but he didn't push himself on anybody. He wasn't overt with it. He was cool.
So he didn't get picked on or anything like that?
Yes, he did. Is this Brian?
It is, sir.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah, he did. Some of the football players gave him a hard time, and I'll never forget it. But he took it in good spirit. And I'll never forget when he won that talent show in the senior class. And I'm sitting on the front row, and some of the football guys are sitting next to me because I was president of the senior class. And they were up on their cheering for him. I said, wait a minute. You're the guys who gave him a hard time. They said, GK, it was all in fun. He was a good sport about it. He's one of us. We're for him now. We wanted to try to make it. But, yeah, they gave him a hard time. But I tell you what, Brian and Mark, he never forgot it, because one time we're having a party at Graceland, we're rocking and rolling, man, it's about 10 o'clock at night, and the guard calls from the gate and says, GK, a couple of guys from Humes High School down here want to come up. He gave me their names, and I knew them. I went to Elvis, and I said, Elvis, so-and-so down at the gate, they want to come up. He said, GK, he said, just tell them the party's winding down. We're going to cut it short tonight. I said, what, Elvis, we're going to rock, late. He said, come here. I said, what? He said, those are two of the guys that gave me a lot of hell in high school. He said, just let them down easy, man.
George, one more question and we'll get you out of here. But one of the things that I've always been intrigued with, and I think it would make a good made-for-TV movie, is in 1965, though Elvis did not want to, he welcomed in the Beatles into his Los Angeles home where they met him. They later said he was their idol, but it wasn't something Elvis really wanted to do. Were you there for that, or did you have, there's very little information about it and there are no photographs.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Mark. No, he wasn't too crazy about it. It was Brian Epstein hitting on Colonel Parker and pushing Colonel Parker, and so Colonel told Elvis, look, we'll let him come in, stay a little while, let him go. We'll be nice to him. So Elvis said, okay. But he wasn't enamored. I mean, with them. He liked the songwriting especially. But no, I wasn't there. But as soon as it was over, I get a call from Beverly Hills up in Bel Air. Hey, GK, the Beatles were just here. And I said, yeah, man, what happened? They said, well, they sat there like statues, and they were just mesmerized by Elvis. And I said, what happened? He said, well, Elvis got him and said, you guys don't do anything. I'm going to bed. He said, well, wait. And there were some musical instruments over the corner. So Lennon and McCartney picked up the guitars and the basses, and they started jamming. They jammed for about 30 minutes, and then Colonel Parker had a roulette wheel. He turned it over. They started playing roulette and playing blackjack, and some of the guys went out and took a toke. It was a cool night. The only picture, Mark, that is available, and I've seen it, as they are leaving, you can see Priscilla and Elvis, and you can barely see John Lennon waving goodbye to him.
Oh, I'm going to have to seek that out.
Did Elvis really say, since you guys don't want to do anything, I'm going to go to bed?
Oh, yeah, he said that. He told me, he said, guys, if you're just going to stare at me and won't do anything, I'm going to crash, man, when I check. And they said, well, no, don't do that, Elvis. And they jumped up, and they were just mesmerized, as I said, by him. And so they jumped up and started jamming. And after that, in Vegas, I think Ringo and Harrison came to see him in Vegas, and then John and Paul would call Graceland. I answered the phone once, and I said, oh, and they said, Is Elvis in? I said, well, who's calling? He said, John and Paul. And I said, just a minute. I said, Elvis, it's Lennon and McCartney. He said, okay, put them on. So he talked to them. They were cool, you know.
The man you've been listening to is truly an icon of rock and roll. He was doing radio in the 50s and one of the very first to play rock and roll records. His name is George Klein. He has written a book called Elvis, My Best Man, Radio Days, Rock and Roll Nights, My Lifelong Friendship with Elvis Presley. George, an honor to speak with you.
Hey, thank you, Mark. You guys have really been cool, and I really appreciate it. I see why you're number one there in Los Angeles in the morning. You take care of business. I want to mention Chuck Crisafulli. He's my co-writer. He's out there in Los Angeles listening in. Also want to mention that I do some moonlighting down at the Horseshoe Casino in Tunica.
Super good.
Very
George,
cool.
The very best, and good luck with the book.
Okay, guys. Thanks a lot.
Talk to you soon.
All right. KLOS, Los Angeles.
See? He's good.
Hey, hey, Brian.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome, dude. Look, first of all, the guy was really sincere and really a nice guy.
He's a good dude.
He's a really nice guy, and this isn't a tell-all trash book. I was kind of just perusing through it. It's the good side. It's all the good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not a fluff piece, but it's all the good stuff. And I knew what it meant to you, and there were so many times I wanted to throw a little funny. But I held back, man.
Nice.
I held back. So, yeah, I'm assuming you are going to be reading this book.
I will.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely will, because he was a lifelong friend and one of the deepest members of the Memphis Mafia. And the stuff that he writes about, it happened. It's true.
Well, obviously nothing against the man. As I said, he's a very cool guy. But I will not be reading the book. So Kelly, who was our number 2 Elvis fan on the show, would you like the book?
I'd love that book.
You got it.
Thank you.
I'll have it signed by Elvis. Let me just sign it for you real quick.